I'm very happy to jump to Caroline from Silverfin, Caroline de Praat. And I met through Vice President HR, Stefan Arijn, because Stefan is really a true believer of integrated talent management or total talent management or whatever you call it, like Jan Willem said. And they set up their talent strategy really in line with the new reality in the labor market. So they take into account freelancers, they take into account remote workers, etc., etc. And for a number of years already. Caroline, I'm very happy that you can join us here and that you're willing to testify what your role is within Silverfin and what exactly this integrated talent management at Silverfin stands for. So the floor is yours, Caroline. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marleen, for the introduction. So like Marleen mentioned, my name is Caroline. Already working 20 years in the field of HR and mainly in international companies in the tech industry or the SaaS industry. Currently, I'm working now at Silverfin as the HR business manager for Benelux, but also for the remote team. I'm now a year and a half at Silverfin. Silverfin is a scale-up company in the fintech industry. We exist now about 8 years now and employ 180 people. So within my scope, I'm responsible for talent acquisition, but also everything related to comp and ben, of course, HR business partnering tasks, and also office and culture. Maybe as a first energizer, maybe, because I think everybody after 2 hours can need some energy as well. I added a small questionnaire, so I'm not sure if everybody has his smartphone with him. So you can just scan the QR code and there's a small question because I'm curious to see indeed what is holding you back to hire remotely, for instance.
So amazing. Difficult to keep remote workers engaged.
Yeah. Well, I will try to share the story a bit of Silverfin and how we try to approach this in different ways. So maybe first to kick off is why did we decided to start with a remote recruitment strategy at Silverfin. So we develop a sort of a software for accountancy firms. And this is programmed in the language Ruby on Rails. And as you may know or may not, it's really difficult to find these profiles in Belgium. I think if you probably there are maybe 50 people who have these skill sets of programming in Ruby on Rails, but that's it. So it's really difficult to find them. So we had a choice. We needed to have access to a bigger talent pool. So we could, we were in doubt, okay, will we just open up an office in another country or will we just start hiring remotely spread over different countries? We eventually decided to hire remotely in different countries because we also believe that it's much easier to integrate those people in the existing culture of Silverfin already. If you would have an office which our people are all together, it will be, they will create their own culture and maybe it's not what we prefer to have. But there was also another reason why we decided to set up a remote recruitment strategy. It's because it started with our engineering department and we really wanted to create an engineering environment where people really like to work. So for us, remote work is not really about just a location. It's also about a state of mind, meaning that from our remote people, they also have the freedom to work where and when they want. So it's really more that kind of environment we wanted to create for our engineering department. So at first, of course, we faced some challenges as well. We started with a small team in the beginning. And when you have a small team, then it's often a small team which is remote and all other peoples are in the office in Belgium or in London. Then you sometimes forget these people who are working remote. And then you have these kind of situations. You send out a company communication. Oh, damn, we forgot to add the remote people. Or communication is made, but then we did it in Dutch instead of English. So in the beginning, these were the main challenges, that they were often forgotten because they were remote and not visible. Another challenge we had was the pay. So in the beginning, I think the first hire we did, it was more like, okay, what is actually your expectations in terms of fee? Okay, that is what we will offer you. After a while, we also realized this is probably not the best approach. And then we started with benchmarks, which we got from GitLab, where we really saw, okay, what are the differences in fee per country. Then we came across to another issue, is because we are bringing our remote people together from time to time, at least twice a year, and people talk to each other. And then you come to this kind of situations that people, engineers, software engineers, who actually are doing the same job, but the one is working in Ukraine, the other one is working in France, and the one in France is earning double that much money than the one in Ukraine. And then you get these kind of discussions. So we actually, as a company, have decided, okay, we actually want to pay people for what they do, not based on their location. So we had we took the viewpoint, okay, we will pay all our remote workers the same salary, regardless from where they are working. Because for us, it doesn't matter which location they are working, it's mainly the output that matters, so we will pay them in the same way. So we have one set of benchmark day fees, which we are using for our remote workers, which is also fully transparent, communicated to them the moment we are already actually sourcing. So the moment we are sourcing for candidates, we already publish also the fees we will offer for these jobs. Okay.
Caroline, maybe just to elaborate very briefly on this one, is it something you put, for instance, on your website or any other platform that you post vacancies on?
Yeah, so we put it in the job offer immediately, but we also have a blog where we always make a reference to, and I will mention a bit more later on. But this blog is also not only talking about what we offer, but also more in general, how we look at remote work. What is our philosophy behind it? How do we work together in a remote way? So that this is,
also additional benefits for working, but things, aspects like culture, well-being, etc. Yeah, okay.
Correct.
There's an interesting question from Anik. What about taxes? You pay everybody 100 euros in all countries for the same role, of course. But then, of course, at the bottom, not everybody has the same amount on their bank account. That's
true indeed. Taxes are different in different countries. But I think it's to a certain extent you can be fair.
So you take the cost of the company, then you give the package as the cost of the company and not the net amount that people earn. That is your base, in fact. Then.
Indeed.
So you say in Belgium, this is 100 euros, and then in any other country, it's 100 euros. That's different. Okay.
Indeed,
You so take also the core and so on, you take also into account, and that's the full package cost of the company, and that can be spent also in other countries.
Yeah, correctly. So we are using the Belgian benchmark because we also believe that Belgium is also a country which fares fairly compared to other European countries. And then we just add indeed the benefits to it and divide it to 220 days, and that's then the day fee we foresee for this role. So indeed, regardless location, that's the day fee that we will get. Obviously, of course, because we are so fully transparent about these salaries, you will attract a certain group of people. So we see that a lot of people from Eastern Europe are interested to work for us. Spain, Portugal, Africa, Russia. More difficult, of course, to attract people from France, Germany, Netherlands, which have maybe even higher expectations.
And all people are externals that you hire then. You put nobody on the payroll. So
No.
it's always a comparison with contractors.
Yeah. So how do we attract them? So first of all, the profiles we are looking for. So we're really looking for experienced profiles within our engineering team. So not only in the skill set they have, but also in the way they work. So we really need to have people who can work independently. It doesn't need to have somebody who's sitting next to them who is telling them what to do. They really need to be self-independent, but also really experienced in remote working. So it's not that people say, oh, I think I will like it. I have done it for a while during Corona. It really needs to be people who are really used to work remote so that they know how to work in this way, but also communicate in this way and communicate with international teams, communicate with different nationalities as well. So this is also something we are screening upon the profiles. And it should be a deliberate choice of people who really to work remote. For now, it's mainly engineers, software engineers that we are recruiting, product managers and customer support roles. The channels we are using, we are quite successful with using the channel We Work Remotely and Remote OK. So we publish our vacancies over there and we get quite some traction. So just to give you an idea, I think every day there are about 30 applicants in our mailbox who are interested. So there's quite some traction. And of course, LinkedIn is also used for that. And like I mentioned, we have a blog where we also define, and this is also read quite a lot by candidates to see indeed, is this an environment I would like to work or not? Where are we searching our candidates? Because we still work in teams, of course. We say, okay, we want to attract people in the time zone plus 3 hours, minus 3 hours. So in that time zone, everybody can apply for this for our vacancy. So as you can see, it's quite a huge region and quite a big scope of candidates we can reach with this. So currently we have about 30 remote team members spread over 16 different countries, going from Russia to Tanzania, Nigeria. So it's quite a mixed group. I can tell.
Even the parts of Brazil, I see.
Yeah, but we don't have people over there, but it could be, yeah, if it's, yeah.
And some icebergs.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. Yeah. Interesting. It's good to see this on the map, you know, to visualize. Yes.
Yeah. The legal framework. So how are we doing this? So all our remote workers, they have a service contract with our Belgian entity, which is also our headquarters. Before we did this, we, of course, we gained some legal advice to make sure we are okay with this. So we had the help of Deloitte for that, and they helped us setting this structure up. So it's quite an lengthy agreement. We give temporary contracts, not only because we want that, but also mostly because the remote workers prefer to have temporary contracts. Yeah, people don't want to be that linked sometimes, and they want to still have the freedom. So we have temporary contracts, but also in some occasions we have a more indefinite contract where it's just ended between an agreement between both parties. The temporary contract, so 1 month before it's ended, we just give an heads up to the manager, please, the contract expires, maybe have a chat with the team member to check indeed if they want to prolong it or not, whether everything is going well or not. And then we just prolong it. Some clauses that we include in the contract. So there's a compulsory liability insurance that we ask people to take. We also ask a minimum commitment to work a minimum number of days per year for Silverfin, and a daily fee, and of course some standard clauses on confidentiality, etc. But that's going well, and we haven't got, not I'm aware of at least, that we already had legal disputes or arguments that people have issues with that. Of course, when you have so many people working remote, I think we already mentioned a few times during this call as well, it's keeping them engaged. And we believe it's really important that although they are contractor, freelancer, whatever, that they also should be engaged, because it really costs a company as well if you each time have to switch to new contractors and train them again and make sure they are up and running. So we really invest quite a lot to keep them engaged. And we do it on 3 different ways. First of all is the way we work. We make sure if we work with remote people that we all have the same work conditions. So for instance, we have some rules within the company. The first one, if one person is remote, everybody is remote. Meaning, so for instance, if you have a Zoom meeting and you have a group of people in the office, and there are 3 others who will need to dial in for the meeting because they are remote, then everybody will sit in a different room dialing in separately, because we don't want to have meetings where people feel that they are left out just because they need to dial in. So everybody will need to sit in the meeting with the same conditions as the remote workers, so that people feel included in a conversation, not that there are side conversations going on which they can't hear well enough or not. We also have we try to write everything down, even if there are you have conversations in the hallway, write it down if there are questions. So also people who are working remote don't feel they are missing something because they're just not physically there. In general, I think we try to over communicate, but also to the point, otherwise you lose in details. We also encourage people read with grace, because if you write down a lot, if you put something black on white, you sometimes can misinterpret certain things. So read with grace and always assume the best intent of people. And also, it's not because we write down a lot that you don't have to talk to each other. So we also encourage just give each other a call if you need to have a quick answer or not. A second part is connect personally. It's still important, even for remote people. So at least twice a year, we try to bring the team together. So we have twice a year an engineering retreat where all the engineers are coming together. There are some brainstorm workshops. But we also have a company kickoff where the whole company is coming together in the beginning of the year, and also a company trip once a year. Of course, outside of Corona, but we also experienced in the past year, because of Corona and the team couldn't meet each other, that even for them it's quite challenging of not being able to meet their co-workers, even if it's only once live. Yeah. We also try to have a fixed moment on Friday, the Friday get together, where there are Zoom chats, but on an informal way. And so not about business, but just to get to know each other and to connect. A third pillar is equal treatment. So like I mentioned, we have quite some people, contracted freelancers. I think from the 180 people at Silverfin, I think about 40 them are contractors. So we really try to be an equal treatment for everybody. And this is in small things. For instance, if a gift is given to all employees, also make sure you don't forget the contractors who are working remote. Maybe it's not easy to send it over by post because it's quite expensive, but at least give them a voucher or let them expense something that they can go out for dinner as well if other ones are benefiting from it. But also another initiative that we have done in 2021 It was also during the Corona pandemic that we also saw that our people really struggled mentally, and we have given them 12 well-being days per year, so that every third Friday of the month we close a company. And during that day, it's really okay. You don't have to work. You can really spend some time on your personal well-being or spending time with your family. And we also give it to all our contractors and freelancers. So we say, okay, even you as a freelancer contractor, you can get these well-being days. You can just invoice these days, but you don't have to work. So also in these kind of things, we are really keen on.
I have a question on this, Caroline. How about learning and development? Because gifts, etc., that's nice, but very often the discussion with companies is, no, we provide training for our perm workers, but not for the freelancers. They have to take care of that themselves, and we won't provide for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At Silverfin, it would be more like if it's really beneficial for Silverfin, and for instance, in case of software engineering, if they really want to improve their programming skills or these kind of things, then probably they would just be involved. If it's more like, okay, they want to personal development just as a contractor because they want to increase their value to the market, and it's not beneficial for Silverfin, then it will be their cost, of course. But if it's in light of the company, yes.
There's a policy and it's clear upfront.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's perfect. Yeah.